is Laura from LiveVisions.com, and I just wanted to give you a sample reading as to how the Venus, Mars, and marriage reading will work. This is about a 10-minute reading, and at the end of the 10 minutes, you will have a chance to add more time if you want to. And I asked for volunteers today, so today Luba has volunteered for her chart, and I wanted to kind of go over Venus, Mars, and the 7th house in general before I do the reading. The 7th house in relationships shows you the type of marital partners you're going to draw into your life. The 5th house shows you the kind of partners you would bring into your life as far as dating. Now, Venus in a woman's chart shows you how she's going to flirt, how she's going to entice a mate. And Venus in a man's chart is going to show you the type of woman he's going to be attracted to. And Mars in a woman's chart is the man, it shows the man, the type of partner she would be attracted to. And Mars in a man's chart shows you his libido and his energy in general. But anyway, that being said, let me start with Luba's chart. Thanks for letting me do this for you, Luba. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate your feedback as well.
No, okay, great. And I just noticed right away when I saw your chart today, I was like, oh my gosh, she has a lot in common with me. So, first of all, I noticed that you're a Virgo ascendant, okay? And I'm noticing that your moon is conjunct Saturn in the 1st house. And this is like, you know, in relationships, you need organization and you need seriousness, okay? So I know we kind of went off a tangent and went into your moon, but this is important. Because of a partner, even though if they're matching your Mars, what you're looking for in a partner, but if they don't match that moon, they're not going to stick around. So I will say, just looking at the 7th house right away, that you are very compassionate with relationships. You're probably a huge giver, and you probably like partners who are, you know, kind of have, you know, maybe they're down on their luck, or maybe you, something with them that you like to maybe help, you know, whatever situation is going on in their life, you could be a very helpful person. Pisces on the 7th house cusp can bring you very spiritual partners. So you could have a really, like a spiritual connection with someone, which is beautiful, and that's the higher octave of Pisces. But on a lower octave of Pisces, it could bring you people who have issues, okay, that, you know, you may sometimes not look at them clearly because of Pisces energy, okay? Pisces tends to make you look at a partner for their potential and perhaps not for who they are. So it could bring you, you know, you could have a beautiful connection with someone, okay, if you're operating on the higher octave of Pisces, but at the lower octave, sometimes people could see your giving side and perhaps take kindness for weakness. Would you say this is accurate?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I would say the 7th house of Pisces, the ruler to this is in your, well, Pisces has 2 rulers. It has like inner planet and an outer planet ruler. The Neptune is found in your 4th house of home and family. So you could meet this person through a marital partner, through home and family members, or through a wedding. Like 4th house rules churches as well, okay? Or, because you have Jupiter, which is an inner planet, you could get approached by these people. In other words, somebody's going to come up to you because Jupiter's in your 1st house of self. So it could be that, you know, partners tend to ask you out or approach you, you know. And I see here one other thing is that your 5th house cusp is ruled by Capricorn, and the 5th house is dating, the types of partners you date. And this shows that you would be very serious when it comes to dating. You know, you're not looking just for the good time, you want the long time. You know, and it would be that also you know, 5th house Capricorn, you would find enjoyment, you know, in maybe in a job or things that you do, you know. But your ruler to your 5th house is found in your 1st house, which makes you're a very serious person. And I would say sensitive as well because you have your moon in the 1st house, okay? Now, your Mars is in Libra. So the kind of guys you might be drawn to are the charming, charismatic type who exude maybe some sort of class. Because your Mars is in your 2nd house, you may share some values with them. You may share things that you value, or they could be, people could be go-getters too when it comes to career and finance. Okay, these are the types of persons that you would want. Okay, would you say that's accurate?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now your Venus is how you flirt. Now Venus is in your 10th house of how people see you in the world, and it's in Gemini. So the way you flirt is you like to show that you're knowledgeable, that you're intelligent, and that you could talk about anything and everything. And you like to show that people do see you in a good light, and probably they do, because Venus natally in the 10th house is you're a very probably liked person. Would you say this is accurate?
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Okay, so that's kind of how you would flirt. Now the only difference I see is, okay, that 7th house, and the reason one of the reasons I chose your chart is because of the 7th house placement. I have it, and I'm telling you, it's one of the hardest placements to have. Yeah. The reason is because of the 7th house is the first marriage, and 7th house will show you the type of partners you draw into your life. And the hard thing about Pisces is where we deceive ourselves or where others deceive us. So you would have to be sure that a partner is being totally honest with you, and that you're not looking at them for their potential. You're not doing all the work in the relationship, because your Virgo ascendant shows that you could be a humble person, even though you're very serious, but you could probably go out of your way, and you'd be doing a lot of the work. And but Pisces isn't always horrible too. It could bring you creative types in the 7th house. Creative types, people who are
so right.
very. What is it?
You're so right.
Yeah.
It's like you know me.
Yeah, but it's not horrible. But I want to say with this placement, my advice would be, if somebody, their actions don't match their words, okay, or let's say that you're always going to bring into your life people who maybe need help in some way. Mm-hmm. So you would always have to say to yourself, okay, are they needing my help because they're a constant science project, there's always issues, or are they needing my help because it's just a one-time thing and maybe it's a matter of circumstance that they're in this position? And if it's the second one, then that person's probably worth having around, okay? And it could bring spiritual types into your life too. Now I have to ask you, have you ever been married?
No.
Okay. Now Saturn, it's good to not get married until you're like 30, 35. The reason I'm saying Saturn is opposing your 7th house, okay? And it's not like having Saturn in the 7th house, but the fact that it's aspecting your 7th, it shows that a marriage later in life would be longer lasting, So that would be better for you. What else was I seeing here?
So I should wait until I turn 35, even if I meet the right person?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Usually when they say if you have Saturn in the 7th house or Saturn aspecting the 7th, to wait till at least after 30, A lot of times what I notice when I do charts with people who get married before 30, it could end up in divorce. And then the second one is the one that's lasting. Okay. Because Saturn is saying that the partner, you need somebody who's mature. And what's hard, too, is on the 7th house of Pisces, this could bring you somebody who's maybe, even though your 5th house is screaming that you want to date somebody who's mature, somebody who's serious, you're not a fling type of girl. But the 7th house is saying, you want that creative, fun type, and you want somebody who's a little bit, somebody who balances you. So you're the very organized type of person. You're very serious. You could be very organized, and not serious where you don't know how to have fun. No, but somebody who's the 7th house Pisces balances you a little bit, because where you're very organized, they may not be so organized. They may need help in that way, and I think that. But here's the issue that I see. Let's say you meet somebody, and they're charming, classy, they have the same values, they're a go-getter, okay? And they're everything that your Mars is wanting, your Mars in Libra, okay? And they look the part. They're very attractive, okay? But let's say that they're not as serious as you want them to be, and their life's a hot mess. Your moon will not be happy. And if there's a conflict between your moon and your Mars is always going to win. So you need to make sure that this person is got their life in order, you know. But I will say, as far as, let me ask you this. Usually when you meet people, and I know you're not married yet, but when you meet people, you get approached a lot?
Well, all of my relationships lasted for many years. So yeah, I've never actually dated around. I've always been in long relationships. But
Right.
I never met a guy outside of, I always met them through the internet. So they did approach me, but that's how we met. I never met anybody outside of, let's say, in the real world. Yeah, people
Right.
approached me, but the connection never happened like that. It always happened through talking first, kind of getting to know each other like that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's so funny, too, that you say that because, okay, the ruler to your 7th house is Jupiter. And Jupiter, Jupiter rules foreign people, foreign lands, foreign places, and Mercury is communication. Because Jupiter resides in your 1st house of communication.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say, let me ask you this, would you say that were these people different cultures than you by chance?
No, that's the thing. I wasn't born here, obviously, and so are my boyfriends. They were all from former Soviet Union, but we all met here in the U.S.
Oh,
so they're
okay.
of my culture, if you think about it, but we're foreign to this land.
Got you. Okay, so, because see here, Jupiter in the 1st house, Jupiter rules your 7th house. It would rule people from a distance, foreign lands, foreign places. And it's funny and that they would approach you. So it's funny that you say that because here you traveled here, which is a foreign place from your home.
We were all born in totally different countries that were part of Soviet Union. So living there, we wouldn't have met, but living here, we did.
Oh,
You know
got you. Yeah, totally. So that makes sense then. Okay.
Yeah,
That's true.
very interesting.
That's true too. Wow. And like Neptune's also a co-ruler to that 7th house that you have. And Neptune's in your 4th house of home and family and in Sagittarius. So Neptune could mean that away from home. Because Neptune residing in Sagittarius in your 4th house of home, Sagittarius represents foreign, like people at a distance. But this would mean that you would meet them away from home. You know? Also, a 4th house also rules churches. It also rules family in general, just home and family. But I don't think that, judging by your chart, you don't have a problem meeting people. I think it's the right person for you. It's the right connection. Now, we're kind of going off into something else here, but I see the transits, like you have Pluto hitting your 5th house. So, and Uranus is hitting your 8th, and it's squaring, okay? And the last year or so, it's been squaring. So what's going to happen is, you may meet somebody suddenly that you really have strong feelings for. The way you date is going to change big time because there's transformation in that 5th house of dating, which means that, your life could be transformed by somebody you date or by a child. So I want to tell you, if you're not looking to get pregnant, you might want to watch that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But one thing that's hard right now, you have Neptune hitting your 7th house, and I have the same thing you do because our ascendants are like 1 degree apart, you and I.
Wow.
So Neptune on the 7th house is kind of like, it puts a lot of fogginess. So it's bad enough having Pisces on the 7th. That's how I feel anyway. But then you add Neptune there, it's like adding more fog to the mix, and which means that you could really fall for someone and think this is it, and then be like, oh my God, I didn't know this about them. Like, what the heck? Like, seriously? And Neptune retrograde right now sort of lifts that fog a little bit, so it makes it like some things you may find out. Things in relationships may become a little more clear for you, which would be helpful. So have you been in situations where you were in a relationship and you felt like you thought it was one way, and all of a sudden you find out, oh my God, this is, like, you may have loved that person for their potential, and you find out later it's something else.
Every single time I would just get disillusioned.
Yeah, that's hard.
It was always there. It just would not manifest in a way that I would hope it would. So
right. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I chose your chart. I really am, because I think that this could really help other people, because 7th house cusp of Pisces, or even having Neptune in there, is very hard. And this could help, I think, a lot of people who are going through that. But I would say advice for this placement is not paying attention to what's said, but watching the actions of the person. Weeding them out quicker, because Pisces 7th house, you tend to keep people around longer than you should.
Yep.
Because you feel overly compassionate. Oh, maybe it's because of this they did that, or maybe, you know, we tend to make excuses. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, also look to see, is this person in their bad situation because they're always screwing up, or is it just like, they're, you know, people have bad things that happen because of circumstances that have nothing to do with them. So you want to look at that too. So if it's just a circumstance, maybe they're worth keeping around. But if you see, like, you know, they prove to be kind of a science project, you may want to be like, oh my God, I can't do this, you know. And I want to say poor Virgos, ascendants, because they're so giving and they always want to do things for other people. Because let's face it, would you say that you like to feel needed a lot?
Absolutely. That's like the most important thing for me. If I don't feel needed, it's like it's a deal breaker for some reason.
Yeah. So, you know, and you have Jupiter there too. So you're really like, you're a super Virgo. You know, it's like you have Jupiter, Moon, and Saturn there. So you're very serious, okay? You could be very serious about your feelings. And when you're, you know, your Moon shows it when you're upset, you could be analyzing things backwards, forwards, and sideways in your mind. Like what did I do and what did he say and this, you know. And, you know, Jupiter being on your, close to your ascendant, on your first house, can mean that, you know, number one, you could be lucky in general, okay? But it also expands this Virgo and energy that you already have as yourself, you know? So you're very, I want to say, you could be super wanting to really be needed, and you could really like to go out of your way for other people and let me help, you know? So
I feel fulfilled when I'm doing something for somebody.
Yes, very much so, you know. And your Mars in your second house would make you could be very ambitious as far as earning money and earning a living.
Actually, no, not at all.
Really?
I think it's my Lilith in the second house that kind of makes me not care about money so much.
Well, Mars in the second house could mean your values as well, and it's also your ambition, like, but it's in Libra, and I have to say, Libra is not the most ambitious sign, but it would make you, like, want a guy, like Mars in Libra would make you definitely want a guy who's charming and classy and knows how to handle himself in any situation. And I would say because of this, you know, maybe you would want to make sure his values are similar to yours. He could be a go-getter because Mars in Libra. However, he could be a go-getter more like he cares a lot about his appearance. You know, like caring how he looks or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I tend to go for the good-looking side.
Yes, and they're the worst, right? No, no, it's hard, but you know, I will say I'm glad I did your chart because I feel like a lot of people who have Pisces on the 7th, it's really difficult, you know. But you know what? I think things will change because, you know, Uranus in your 8th is going to shake things up for you. So let's say if you have strong feelings for somebody that is still no good for you and you really need to get them out of your system, Uranus will help you break out of that rut, you know. So, I don't know.
I actually met someone new recently, like a month ago, who seems to be perfect. But we haven't met yet. I'm in New York, he's in Chicago, and I'm planning on going there in a few weeks.
Oh, nice, awesome. That's
so
awesome.
So distant travel.
Oh, there you go. There's that distance thing. Well, here's the thing. I think it'll be good for you, but just make sure when you start dating this person that you're like, okay. Now, we could, you know, I have it on the 7th house cusp too. I'm guilty as charged. You know, you could look at someone and say, oh my God, this is just so perfect. Oh my God, this is great. Because in your mind, you're thinking, you always look at the good. One thing that's good about us is people with 7th house Pisces can always look at the good things in everybody.
Exactly.
You know? And so you want to make sure that you're looking at the person clearly, so you're going to say, okay, if he promises something and doesn't follow through, that's a red flag. Or if he says one thing, does another, it's a red flag. And if he, like, tells you things like, oh, yeah, this one's taking care of me and that one's taking care of me, or my mom's doing, that's a red flag too. Because as a Virgo ascendant, you can fall into that trap because you love taking care of people.
Yeah.
And you don't want somebody, I think a lot of Virgos are going through a huge transformation where they want to be able to lean on someone too. And they get frustrated. We're our worst enemy because we're like, we want to take care of other people, then we get really ticked and, you know, kind of like, well, how come I can't count on you, you know? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and me being a Cancer,
yes.
nurturing.
Yes. Well, that's even more so. Your sun and your Mercury's there. So that means when you talk to, you could be very sensitive at the things that you say, and you come across very sensitive to others' feelings when you say things too, you know? So, yeah. But anyway, I hope this sort of helps you a little bit as far as, you know, your 7th house and your Mars and your Venus and how it all plays together in your relationship.
It totally did. You were so on point in every single way. And
thank you.
I got a real insight because you know how it is. You feel things, you kind of know what's going on, but when somebody from the side pinpoints things to you, you kind of get it. There's a moment of, oh, eureka.
You know what's so funny is I was actually thinking, I saw your chart, I'm like, I have to choose this girl. I just have to. Because of your ascendant and your 7th house cause. I actually was thinking of starting like a chat room just for people who have 7th house cause Pisces, because it is one of the most difficult placements.
Great.
Well, no, I mean, here's the thing. But look at it this way. You could draw into your life. It doesn't mean that relationships are always going to be horrible. If you follow that rule of thumb that I give you, you'll weed people out who are no good for you right away. And you really want to achieve like a really nice spiritual connection with someone. So Pisces can actually give you that dreamy partner, like that soulmate type of person. But on a low octave, it could also give you guys who have, you know, science projects, you know, like people who have addictions or they have issues that they're hiding and they're not being honest about or whatever, you know. As I've heard a lot of clients complain about, oh my God, I didn't know he had this and that and this and that. And there were always red flags. But because of that Pisces on the 7th house, you either choose not to see it or you make excuses for it.
Yeah, it's just so rarely that I have a connection with someone that when that happens to me, it's like so rare that I kind of just dive into it.
Right, right. Well, just here's the thing. Don't get, and I know how it is, so don't get, like, how do I say this? Be excited, be happy, you know, because I know exactly how that is. But look at the person like, you know, just when he says something, you know, and he says, hey, I'm going to do this, make sure he follows through. Or if you follow those rules, and no matter how cute he is, because I know your Mars in that Libra, man, if he's cute, you're thinking, I'm going to keep him around a little longer because he's worth it. You know, he's worth it. He's so handsome. But don't do that. Don't. What you want to do is you really need someone you can count on. Your Moon is conjunct Saturn. So you need not just a want, you need stability. And you need security, and you need someone who's serious. This isn't just a want. So if that moon isn't getting fulfilled, it won't work out in the end, you know, no matter how much that Mars is satisfied.
Yeah, I've noticed that my inside unsatisfaction that I have inside of me emotionally always comes out.
Yeah, and it's the worst too.
Yeah, I start thinking on things.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, you know, my Mars is in conflict with my moon as well. And, you know, it's kind of, no matter, they always say, too, when your Mars is kind of in conflict or, you know, is in opposing, like, you don't have any harsh aspects to your Mars and your moon, I don't see. But, however, they're showing different things. And whenever you see that, it's kind of like, your moon is always going to win, because what matters most is the person who's always going to be there for you and be secure for you and who's going to be serious is going to be the guy you're going to end up with anyway. You know, but I know what it's like because your Mars is like, well, I want that and the guy that I'm attracted to, though. You know?
Yeah.
See, you're looking for that whole enchilada, and I get it. But I think this could be a really good turning point for you because of that Pluto in the 5th. So you're definitely going to have transformation in the types of partners that you date. And again, if you're not looking to have a baby, your life could get transformed by a little baby, so be careful. Yeah. But other than that, that's about it as far as your relationships and stuff.
How long is this time frame, the danger time frame of getting transformed by a child?
Well, you don't have any planets in the 5th, but, you know, Pluto, they always say when Pluto hits your 5th, especially on the cusp, you know, you're out of danger zone with the cusp, but Pluto's retrograde, so you're really reevaluating things. Pluto is now 9 degrees in your 5th house. which is about, looks like you're about 8 or 9, 7, maybe 7 degrees away from your 5th house cusp there. But you're okay. But I always say just to be careful, because Pluto in the 5th, now that it's retrograde, but more so when it's direct. When it goes direct, you just want to be more cautious. That's all. But yeah, because I've talked to so many people who are like, oh yeah, I'm like, I see their looking back through their charts at certain time frames in their life. I always, when I see 5th house Pluto, I'm like, did you get pregnant at that time? They're like, yep. Like, okay. Yeah. So you just want to, and here, 5th house Capricorn denotes that, I have the same placement as you. Either you may not have any interest in having children, or if you have them, it may be later in life.
It looks like it, because I'm 33 now and I'm not married, so.
Yeah, but no, don't feel bad that you're not going to get married. You're not married, because you will be married. I feel strongly. I just think that, after 35, your relationships get way better because of Saturn opposing that 7th house. But yeah, so don't worry about it. Have a good time with this new person that you met. Enjoy that, but just make sure that you follow the guidelines, and don't keep him around, even if he's totally cute. If he's not following through on things he says, Yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to get, here's the thing though, Pluto in that 5th house shows transformation too. So this means that you would have learned a lot of lessons about dating up until this point.
I did. I feel totally different right now.
Yeah. And that you would have...
I took a break of 2 years, and I kind of reevaluated things, and now I feel different.
See, that's good. That's totally good. And you know what's so funny about me choosing you today? I was laughing. Because you have Pisces, hitting your Jupiter in your 1st house today. And Pisces, whenever it hits your 1st house, it's like you're noticed. Or you look good and you feel good and all this, it's so funny. But I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. I saw that.
Wow.
You're one of the first charts I pulled up. Huh?
The synchronicity.
I know, yes. Yeah, but anyway, enjoy your trip to Chicago. We have a great city here. And I love doing this reading. I will give you a copy of it as well. But I'm going to stop the recording right now and stay on the line. I'll talk to you some more.